to end and start again. We have to start again because of some kind of, I don't know, interference from somewhere. But hopefully that won't happen again. Oh, there you are. Okay, so again, if you just got clicked in and out, there was a little difficulty, so hopefully I fixed that problem and we won't have that happen again. But if so, then I will restart it again. It's kind of the way you do things. Um, this is technology and the errors of it as well. Anyways, as I was saying before being interrupted, uh, this Jesse Chastain person has the, first of all, the same, it usually begins with the same kind of laugh, smile type of emoji. Um, and he will, uh, he'll um, do that, and then he will say something to the lines of "your racism is demonic," basically calling me racist, which is hilarious. But actually, it's probably not funny. But I have chosen the high road, and so this is what this person says. You'll see this happen through probably almost every post that I uh, do that has to do with race, and why he does that, I don't know, but at least he's engaged. That means that he's always showing up to the party and always showing up to the conversation. I hope everybody will start doing that. But uh, but obviously, I've invited him several times to join in conversation. I'd love to know his views. I've shared with you last week one of his posts, and then the subsequent conversations from the other folks that took part in his post, and they're coming from another view. And again, it takes all the views, and I want to know that this is not closed to. Yep, you are correct, Amanda. I know that you have, and but it takes a lot of people. It takes everybody's views. We're not going to understand and be able to overcome this problem without everyone being able to engage with everyone. That means people that love the most to the people that hate the most, to the people who are standing in the middle that are doing nothing but, you know, have their hands crossed or something. I don't know, but but until we all engage, and we're forgiving, because I'm not going to hold anything against him. He grew up a certain way, and hopefully one day, maybe today, hopefully before this is over, today we'll find out why he has the views that he has. I from some of his things I can tell that he's a Trump guy, and so that may spell out some things for some people, but it obviously started before Trump, because Trump's just been president for yay long. So, but anyways, but I do want to engage with him, and hopefully if you guys see him, you'll engage with him too. It's important, man. This is this is this is future that we're talking about. These conversations are not just for now. These conversations are for the generations to come, so that they don't have to endure the things that our parents and their parents and great parents and great grandfathers and so on and so forth have dealt with. This is for us to to acknowledge those things of the past that's, that cause that are causal of the things that are happening now, which then will then participate or anticipate what's going to happen next, and precipitate. That's the word I meant. What's going to happen next, and we want to, yes, absolutely pray for him, and um, we want to be able to at some point come to some kind of understanding of each other. It's not that we're going to change each other's minds. Don't don't think that that's what I'm here for, or anybody else is here for. We're not here to change your mind. That's only God can do that. We're here, or I'm here at least, to have the conversation so that there's other thoughts that can be thrown around. There's things that I know about certain people that have been close to me that have been of a racist mind, and and we've been able to have conversations, work in the same places, children go to the same schools, so on and so forth. So, we coexist, um, but with an understanding. And that's what this is about. We need to have the desire to understand each other so that we can find out if the views that we've gathered and the things that, we rolled them all up at some point. They've evolved into this part of our character, and we want to know, is that, or have we done that justice? Is that what we've done? Or uh, in, to each other, not only self-analyzing, but with each other. We want to know that. We're not going to be each other's judges or juries, but we want to be able to help the understanding process. And it's not a self-centered thing. This world, God did not place us on this world to be self-centered. He didn't place us here just to worry about what we're doing. Trust me, I used to be of that ilk. The people that all I was worried about was me. Uh, well, after having the most beautifulest baby girl in the whole wide universe, my Smunchkin, my daughter, amazing. After her, and after watching amazing things that my parents had to overcome and other family members, and then you've heard some of the stuff earlier or last week from my brother Marky, who was on uh, with us last week Sunday, but also after I got sick, I have this chronic Lyme disease thing, and it really floors you. It grounds you. It humbles you in every way because simple steps, simple actions are so difficult now, you know, and waking up, getting out of bed, just doing normal things, walking a step. I have a bike behind me. Getting on that bike sometimes is so excruciating to do. So in other words, there's so many things that become a part of us, but also there's these thoughts and ideas and ideals that we create through the thoughts and the experiences that we have. And what I am attempting to do is to help promote the conversation so that we can all understand and we can all keep learning and we can all keep growing in some way, shape, or form. So, again, I want to move on from that because that is just about Jesse Chastain. I hope that he's tuning in. I hope he either tunes in or out, or maybe some of his friends, because we have 200 and some odd friends in common somehow. And so, anybody who's also a friend of his, you know, I hope you tuned in. If you are and you're listening, I hope you get some good stuff out of this. And if you have anything to talk about, please call me, text me. My number is available to everybody. You can get me on Messenger and all many ways. Everybody knows it. So that's to that. Hopefully he'll show up before the end of the conversation. If not, I'll keep inviting him until hopefully at some point he does. So the next thing I want to do is, on Sunday I mentioned how we lost two amazing superhero men, civil rights leaders, John Lewis, Representative John Lewis, and we lost uh, Reverend C.T. Vivian. Just amazing warriors for civil rights, for equal rights, for the rights of black people on this earth. Human rights, but more so, obviously representing the cause of black people in America. And they fought and fought and fought to teach and to lead uh, for years and years and years up until their last breath. And today was the home memorial for C.T. Vivian, and I wanted to read some things that everybody, because when I spoke Sunday, I spoke generally, but I wanted to read some things that everybody can tap into to find online if you wanted to, just so if you wanted to brush up on who C.T. Vivian was and is and will remain to be. Um, I think it's important that we acknowledge what some of these great leaders have done for us, because it's not just They didn't just do it, for notoriety or whatever. There's some folks in the universe that do that stuff. That's not what they did. They did things out of the pureness of their heart and spirit. They were led to be leaders and to help, um, and to help. Thank you, Amanda. Love you. Um, they were trying to help a people that were stepped on and that were oppressed and pushed and beaten and so on. I mean, if you know the stories of civil rights, um, of the civil rights era, and before, you understand that there were incredibly horrible, violent things done to black people, and brown people, in with men, women, and children, killed, beat, murdered. Uh, I mean, I the things are unspeakable if they were to happen right now, which some of the things are still happening. You see what's happened. The world goes crazy, and people are out there, every nationality and race and so on. They're out there and they're protesting and so on, peacefully too. Yes, there's some people that are stupid and they do dumb stuff, but for the most part, there are hundreds and thousands of people out there protesting, um, on behalf of black lives. And these two men were some of the first, um, who were, part of orchestrating many, uh, to do such things. So let me just read these things. This first thing I'm just going to read from Wikipedia. You guys can find it yourselves. It's it's easy to find, and we have to, in our lifetimes. I think it's one of the most important things for all of us to do is to become educated. Um, doesn't mean that everybody has to end up with a doctorate, um, or a master's, like my brother Giovanni. But we have to be knowledgeable about what's going on. That's the only way we can fight. You can't argue, fight. You can't, um, uh, you can't go word for word, tit for tat, or whatever with anybody if you don't have some knowledge to go through. I was reminded today because there was something that my brother posted on. He's always posting stuff. He's got some great stuff. I think he should have a job doing it because it's cool. But he was posting something about, some massive amounts of money in South Carolina that were going to be, given to private schools, and I reposted it, and I started getting these messages. What people do. Facebook is crazy, but it's cool at the same time. Necessary evil. And but anyways, this one guy, started, his spiel about Democrats and whatever. And you know, I never post things based on Democrat or Republican. I base things post, on right or wrong, or at least in my eyes, what is right or wrong. Hopefully, God is leading my mind, and so hopefully it ends up being at least somewhat right. But, anyways, but so he instantly posted some Democrat stuff, and then, told me some figures of stuff, that's based on the school board in this county that I don't even know where that county is. I'll look it up eventually, but I haven't had time. But he was telling me that, and telling me you know, how much money was already being spent on, uh, on um, on public schools from, kindergarten through college. I guess I think is what he posed. And I remember, I mean, I literally only had to let him know that I grew up in Charleston, South Carolina, North Charleston, and went to R.B. Stall High School. I went to school. I know the difference between my books and then friends of mine that had books who were going to certain, I won't name them schools, but in Mount Pleasant area. Even just going from North Charleston to Mount Pleasant, the quality of books and uh, and technology was vastly different. So, um, so wherever that money was going, it didn't end up at our school. And that's the thing. People, a lot of times, and this is what's good about this conversation, because a lot of times people don't understand that just because you had it all wherever you were, or the first thing that you get your hands on, that's what you see. That doesn't mean that's how it is. And for the most part, it probably isn't that way for everybody. Uh, in underserved areas, black and brown areas, or impoverished areas, there is so much lacking as far as tools for learning. And I mean, there are places we don't even where there's not even internet service. You know, you're lucky if you can get to the library somewhere to get on a computer. So I don't know what some folks have been fooled into thinking, but accessibility is not there. This is the systemic thing. This is part of that systemic thing that I've been trying to speak about. So, but anyways, I want to move on to this. We'll have that conversation fully again in the future. I'm sure many times. Again, if you have anything that you want to speak about, please let me know. I'm going to try to scroll as much as possible. What I wanted to do right now was, hey Greg, you said we can only clean up our side of the street. Well, there is a different, there's kind of, that's kind of true in some ways, but kind of not, because, you know, what one person can do physically, that's one thing, but what another person can do in other ways, like what I'm doing now. I'm in Ohio right now. I'm talking to people in many different places: South Carolina, Boston, hold on, San Francisco. Uh, so you can't say that. I had uh, uh, the people messages that I get. They don't just come from my side of the street. So you can't say that you can only clean up your side of the street. If you want to give up there, that's up to you. Craig, I would believe from knowing certain other things that I've seen you post that you're not one that would do that. But understand that when we get to a point where we say, I can't do anything for those people because I can only do stuff for what's right here. Well, the minute you do that, you're limiting yourself, and God doesn't limit us like that. Uh, the God that I serve, He doesn't give us limitations. Will He give us tasks to do? Will He put us in a certain place to do certain things? Absolutely. But if He does not stop you and He gives you the yearning and the desire to want to help other people, you definitely can clean up the other side of the street and plenty of other sides of the streets. And you can entice other folks to do the same. So, as I agree in some respect, minimally, um, you know, I can't agree with that wholeheartedly because I'm doing it right now. I'm talking to all sides of the street right now, and who knows how many people these words will touch, positively or negatively. I don't know, but all I can do is is continue to not limit and continue to just stretch. And every time I try to find a new outlet to where I can get this heard and so on, then that's what I do. And I was talking to a couple of people that hopefully will be on soon. I think I mentioned it Sunday. Um, One is an actress, I'm sorry, and the other is an artist, and they're from different parts of the country who are very interested in what I'm doing and helping, wanting to help with this to take it to another level, which is amazing. God is good, and um, so we don't, you know, let it's all of the sides of the streets belong to all of us. We're all walking this earth. God put us all here. We're all supposed to be. Thank you, Owen. Appreciate you, brother. Miss you, man. Love you. We're all here to to help each other on every. If we can see it, we can help it in some way or another. Maybe that's the easiest way to say it. And 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 even if we can't see it, we should be able to, we should feel something to, that's what loving on our neighbors is supposed to be about. So, anyways, I wanted to get back onto this thing real quick, and if anybody wants to talk about that further, we can. But I wanted to dedicate some time to CT Vivian because today they had his memorial, his funeral. I think is going to be Thursday, tomorrow. So, but I wanted to just give you a couple of things from Wikipedia and a couple of other things. That way, I'm giving you things like this because everybody has access to it. So these are some things that I think are important to know about this superhero of a civil rights leader who led from from his youth till his last breath. Um, his his name was Cordy Tyndall Vivian. He was born July 30th, 1924, and he passed away this past Friday. He was an American minister, author, and close friend and lieutenant of Martin Luther King Jr. during the Civil Rights Movement. Uh, he resided in Atlanta, Georgia, and founded the C.T. Vivian Leadership Institute. He was the member of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Let's see. Let's see. What did he do? He was. Let's see. He did his first um, sit-ins in the 40s. It's crazy. That long ago, he was leading sit-in demonstrations in in a cafeteria to help integrate. So that, I mean, it's insane to think about things back that long ago. He went to American Baptist Theological Seminary, which is now called American Baptist College, in Nashville, Tennessee. He got together with James Lawson, Mohandas Gandhi's nonviolent direct action strategy to the Nashville student movement. Let's see. Lawson students, including Diane Nash, Bernard Lafayette, James Bevel, John Lewis, and others, got together with him, and they started these protests way back then, when you could literally in a moment lose your life. He was how you want to talk about founding fathers? He's a founding father of of change in the right direction, in a positive direction for Black Americans, for Black people in America. When we were at a time when we were still thought of less than people, which some folks still think of us, less than a person. When you could literally be shot, hung, dragged on the ground, whatever. It wasn't just in slavery days. It was happening in the 40s, 50s, 60s. People were doing that. Look, it's happening now. I said it earlier. So he was out there, and he put his life on the line for us, so that I can have a chance to sit here right now and do this. Let me give you a couple other things. This is from his institute that I just spoke about. And I'm going to read it just verbatim their stuff. It's a C.T. Vivian biography. In November 2013, Dr. Vivian was honored for his vision and leadership in the fight for justice when he was awarded this nation's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. Among his many leadership roles, he has served on the boards of the Center for Democratic Renewal and the National Voting Rights Museum. Currently, he last boarded the Basic Diversity Incorporated, the nation's oldest diversity consulting firm. He had provided civil rights counsel to President Johnson, Carter, Reagan, Clinton, and Obama. That is something. Let me say that again. He provided civil rights counsel to Presidents Johnson, Carter, Reagan, Clinton, and Obama, and he did this throughout and did lectures on racial justice and democracy throughout the world. That is insanity, and he did this, and he was irreverent, and he did this till his last breath. Imagine your whole life, you're not worried about you, as most people. Look, all you gotta do is read some streams and whatever else on Facebook. He was not worried about himself. He was worried about you, me. He was worried about us. He was here laying some groundwork so that we could stand up. You know, one of the amazing things about John Lewis and C.T. Vivian and Martin Luther King and I mean, it goes on and on and on. But because of their recent passing, the amazing thing is that, you know, Jesus, he shows us that that's the kind of love that we're supposed to have. So when we come to the acknowledgement of him, that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to start shedding all the old crap, and we're supposed to start building up this new person in Jesus that will then turn around and start loving the world more than, and not the world, but the people in the world more than we love ourselves. That's what we're supposed to be doing here. We're not supposed to be, uh, you know, not, as much as we want to be involved in the political process because we have to, especially now, we have to be involved. But it didn't start. The essence of it is not about politics. And if people learn that, then politics would then be a better, more loving, more all-inclusive arm um, in this world. It would be such a better thing because it won't be built on individual. Um, uh, you know, I got my little modus operandi on the side, things that I'm about to do, and these pockets that I need to fill, and so on. It's going to not be about that. It's going to be about. It's going to be about. It's going to be about uh, each other. You know, we wouldn't be having a racial problems conversation if we had the foundation of our own individual hearts in the right place. We wouldn't have this problem if everybody started out in a pure, loving place like God intends for us to do. So, since that ended up happening, there were these people born that just had it within them, that God put it within them to fight for others, to put their own bodies on the line, their own physicality, this whole person thing. They put that on the line. They weren't worrying about anything else except making sure that they did everything that they could possibly do in any way, shape, or form on their side of the yard, on the other side of the yard, wherever they could get to, however they can get to them, before social media and after, to spend their breath, every last breath, to fight for you and me. I wish that I had that much inside of me. As an old person, I'm doing my best um, to begin that fight now. I'm beginning to get to the point where I can do that. Um, but but for all intents and purposes, I'm doing a minuscule thing right now. Um, I'm doing my best to engage, to help people engage, and to help people engage in this conversation, so that we can, find find the whys and the hows and the way, all answer the questions through conversation, so that we can do our part to get rid of this thing called racism in America. It is real, folks. It is real, real, real. Nanda, I see you. There, unfortunately, at this moment, I can't call, but I'll try to do it before I'm done, if I can. I promise. Or I will have you come in, be on Sunday, if you can. So just be patient with me. I'm trying to get a few things in here while we have this short time together. But I love you. Amanda, you're awesome. Olin, thank you again too, brother. Anybody else who's stopping through, man, make sure that you say hi. I keep on seeing the numbers go up and down and up and down and up and down. And I love you all. Craig, again, thank you too, man, for stopping by. We everybody's opinions, um, everybody's reality, everybody's story, everybody's experiences are important, and that's what this is supposed to be about. This is the conversation, so that we can try to conquer this thing, and we can't do it alone. Um, when we do it alone, it keeps repeating itself. That is why, if you look in different parts of the country and you see these protests that are still going on, that is a beautiful thing to see all nationalities, to see, but a majority of white folks standing up for black people, because they acknowledge and they understand what has happened to get us in this place that we are right now. And until every white person does that, then we're still going to be stuck. Um, you know, we can't candy coat it anymore. You can't sugarcoat it anymore by just pretending that that it's a black problem, because it's not a black problem. It's a white problem. Because when we talk about the foundation of this country, it was built on our backs. It was built with our hands. It was built with our ancestors' hands and sweat and blood. And that those folks weren't even considered people. Um, Yet, on every rock and every farm and every land, there are skin, there's sweat, there's skin, there's molecules of people, black people that existed, and those people were treated so inhumanely. You know, listen, if you don't understand this, you need to be a part of the conversation. If you know people who don't understand this, you need to conversate with them. It needs to be everybody conversating with everybody. But we have to make sure that we get the message to all white people around the universe. My mom is white. My mom will tell you, all white people need to have this conversation. You need to acknowledge what has transpired across this country and all over the world. But main focus right now, this country. Since its inception, this country has a history and a legacy of racism. It is instituted in racism. This country, we live in a racist country. And until we can, thank you, Joe, Jeannie, Joe, my big brother, of many brothers, but until we get you to acknowledge that in the open, a beautiful thing that I kept on seeing, and I finally posted it today too. I'm glad to see this is how God works. This is awesome. I posted this earlier today, and I wanted to make this abundantly clear, and that is that you know we can't sit here and say that it's not, because I posted it earlier. It's not good enough to just say I'm not a racist. That doesn't apply to me because I'm not a racist. No, that is not correct. The correct statement is, if you are not a racist, then you need to be a anti-racist. An anti-racist. That means that you have to step up and physically become the anti or the anti of what racism is. And if you're not actually stepping to the plate and doing something in some way, shape, or form to help black and brown people, if you're not doing that and you are white, then you are you are part of the problem, just as much of the problem as anybody else. You cannot say, there is no way or shape or form that you can say that there's nothing you can do, because there's something every white person in this country and in this world, any white person that breathes air, there is something that you can do. Look, I'm sick as hell. I physically, I am in a debilitating state most days. Guess what? I'm talking to you now. You can have conversations with people that can be life-changing, just like preachers do it at church. You can, and if you're physically able, you can get out there and protest, or you can go to town halls, or you can go to your government. You can pick up a pen or type some letters or whatever it is. You can reach out to local government. There's things that you can do to acknowledge that racism exists to everybody around you, so that you can then spread the word, so that you can do your job, your duty, to help rid this country of racism. Do I sound aggravated? Oops. Guess what? I am. Because it literally gets tiring to see people on news shows radio shows and whatever talking about, well, that doesn't apply to me. Well, I'm not racist, so they need to, no, they don't need everybody. Every single white person in America needs to step up and tell the truth, needs to step up and be honest, needs to step up and help black and brown people in whatever way you can. I don't care what the way, I don't care which way you choose to pray. Go to God. Say, God, what would you have me to do for black people today? How about that? Start your morning. Say, good morning, Lord. Thank you for my wife and my family, my so on, so on, so forth. Now, Lord, what would you have me do for black people today? Do that. Make that change. If you can do that, now we're going somewhere. Now we're making some moves. Help me that way. Help black people that way. Help black communities that way. Help underserved communities that way. Help underserved and undermanaged and underfunded schools that way. Help us that way. Help us have those same avenues and outlets to jobs and higher paying jobs and upper echelon jobs for the Fortune 500 companies, 400 companies, all. Help us that way. Help us with in ownership and of sports teams. Help us in look. If you don't see us, we should be there. Why aren't we there? You should be wondering. If you don't see us, why aren't they there? They. You can say they in that one. They, those black people. Why aren't they there? Why aren't they at this table? If you look around, if you go to an event and you don't see black people there, ask why. If you go to a political event, you don't see black people there, ask why. If you don't go to hey Tony, how you doing, brother? If you don't go to loving brother too, Tony Avicula, boy, you and your brothers, man, y'all are dope. If you don't see black people on your board of education locally, ask why. If you don't see black people at the top of the local supermarket, ask why. If you don't see black people anywhere your head turns, these days you need to ask why. If it's a decision-making position, why? If it's whatever it is, and if you don't understand what I'm saying, if I'm saying it too fast, call me. My number's on Facebook. But you can email me. You can call me. Everything is there. I post it over and over and over and over and over again. Olin Ravenel, what's up, my brother? Again, thank you for listening. Tell your peeps. Tell everybody. Tune in. We do this every Wednesday and every Sunday at 7 p.m. I want to get you on the conversation at some point too, because y'all boys were tight. Look, y'all got legacy, 10 Mile and all. Listen, but we need you, my lovely white people, my lovely white friends, and my lovely white people everywhere. We need you to do this. We need you to ask that question. And I think maybe I need to get some T-shirts printed up. I better copyright that real quick, because that is the question that you should ask every day. When you see how things are outside, when you look outside, when you turn on the news, when you turn on the radio, when you see the state of America today, you should then say, I want to do something. And when you say that, and when you say that you don't like racism, and when you say that it shouldn't just be saying no more. You should look, turn around, and ask yourself, what can I do for black people today? Ask yourself that question. And I'm going to start repeating it and repeating it and repeating it. And if you tune out, I'm sorry. If you tune in, thank you, Lord. Keep on tuning in. Share it. Tell your friends. Matter of fact, I challenge all of my white friends, all of the white people that I know, all of the non-black people that I know in this country, because I know people all over the country, and anybody who's tuning in from overseas, because when I used to travel with the Backstreet Boys, anybody that I know from over there, I want to challenge you to ask somebody else white, non-black, that you know. Ask those people, hey, what can I do for black people today? That's right. You want God to help you. That's what I'm saying. That's what I just said. Pray. Put it in your prayers in the morning. God, what can I do to help some black people today? That might sound funny to some people. Matter of fact, if my brother Giovanni was listening to this right now, he would probably be laughing really, really, really loudly because of hearing me say that. But it is literally the truth. How can I help black people today? That is your new thing. I'm gonna make some T-shirts. We're gonna get a bunch of T-shirts going. Every time I see one of my white friends, white family, white people, one of my white peeps, one of my close white peeps, ask that question, I'm giving you a T-shirt. I don't care how I have to do it. If I gotta raise money from somebody, whatever I gotta do. We're getting them T-shirts. How can I help black people today? Is our new mission. It is the mission for us. I'm gonna add it to the mission statement that I made already. We're gonna add that to it because we want to help black people. That's what we need to do. We need to make this nation equal out. It's got to even out. It's got to, at some point, it's got to even out. It's got to at least come close to evening out. The system that we live under, the political system, the judicial system, the policing system, the educational system, every system in this country is outweighed. We have very tiny, little tiny seats at the table here and there, where a little tiny, on the screen. No, we should have just as much representation as anybody else, and probably in some cases more. But I'm gonna leave that part alone at this moment. We should all wake up each day and pray for each other. Absolutely, that's a prayer that everybody needs to have, anyways. You should have been doing that well before today. So if Ronnie Lee, if that is something on your mind and your heart, yes, absolutely, do it. Everybody, every day. I do it. I pray for everybody in this world, everybody on this planet. I do it every day. Now, after you're finished doing that, now Ronnie Lee, I would like you to please pray to God and ask Him how you can help black people who have been oppressed and have been downtrodden and have been overlooked all these years, way beyond before you were born, I was born, and anybody else that you know. Let's do that. See, this is the problem that happens when we're having conversations like this, is that people will come in, and maybe Ronnie, you didn't intend to do that, but we have these conversations talking about the importance of something, and people try to change the direction of the conversation. Let me explain to you this. The conversation that God put on my heart is the one that I am having, which is why I opened up and have this live stream. And I, again, at the beginning of each show, I read the mission statement of what this was for and why God put this in my heart to do this. I can tell you the story again of that one day after the Ahmaud Arbery video shooting and all the stuff that I was watching, and I started crying, and I was getting ready to type something on Facebook, and then my hands kind of couldn't even type. I was so distraught. I was feeling so much anger and frustration because of seeing all this stuff happen, stuff like that happen all my life. And then I picked up my phone and I punched live, and I just started talking without planning. It was no plan. It was not whatever. And then this whole live stream thing was birthed from that. And this is, I believe, a God-given way for me to help us engage in the conversation. So when people do this thing, which Ronnie R. Lee, I hope it wasn't what you were doing, but if it was, let me address anybody who does this. Let me see if I can look into this camera. Okay, I don't know if I'm doing it right, but because I can't tell the angle. But when we are talking about a problem that we are facing, it is not up to you to change the discussion. When a black person is telling you the hardships of their life and the cross that they bear of no creation of their own, it is not up to you to change the direction of the conversation. That's on another live stream. The other live stream is about whatever, the pray for everybody one. I mean, trust me, in some of these things, I will include that. I'll include things about everybody, and I include common things. I talked about the pandemic a few times. I talk about all kinds of stuff. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you, Big Brother Joe. You taught me some of this stuff too. But I include it. Whatever anybody wants to talk about. During the week, just in case you don't know, I go through and I read hundreds and hundreds of messages. You guys don't know this. I'm not sitting, this isn't just something that I do on Wednesday and Sunday. I'm doing research. People are sending me stats and things that are supposed to convince me of some hateful stuff and why it's supposed to be right. I go through all kind of stuff every week, during the week, and in between these broadcasts to make sure that I'm being studious, uh, um, uh, um, to learn about things that people are bringing to my attention if I don't know it already. But this is not for this is not a avenue or this is not a podium for somebody else to come in and redirect what the purpose is of this live stream. So again, yes, pray for everybody. Yes, love everybody. I talked about it earlier today. I throw it in all the time. But the main purpose of this is for white people to acknowledge, get a grip on it, that we have a white racist problem in this country that needs to be cured. My mom is going to come on soon. Um, you know, it's kind of tough to fit it in at the present, but she's going to come on soon. And when my white mother comes on and tells you some of this stuff, maybe you'll listen then. Whoever ain't listening now, maybe that's what it'll take. I'm not sure. It shouldn't. It should just be the fact that here is a man. I believe I'm pretty good, a good man, and a good father, and I'm a loving man, and I love God, and I've worked in ministry for years, um, and I outreach forever, and I mean if you need references, I can give it to you, and so I'm here to do something that's loving. But it also has to be an awakening. Listen, people say tough love when they're at home and they're teaching their kids stuff. Well, here's tough love. This is tough love. This is a love that everybody tried to scoot past, or not everybody, but a majority of white folks that I knew growing up used to try to scoot past it. Used to try to pretend like it didn't go on. These things didn't exist. But hell yes, they do. Excuse my English of hell, because that ain't French. But yes, this stuff has been going on. These pains have been going on, and nobody would listen. So here we are. Now I'm 51 years old, and now some people are paying attention. Well, I praise God for that people are finally paying attention. But you can't just pay attention to what is happening at the present. You have to understand that this has been like a, I don't know, like a big, what's that, big tsunami. Like it's been a constant tsunami to black people for years, since the beginning of this country. It's been a tsunami. It's been a tsunami since slavery. It has never ended for us. Just because people weren't saying anything doesn't mean it wasn't over. But the way that the structure in society was for so long, to say these things in a lot of avenues, venues, and whatever, it was unacceptable. We just need to, take what we got and sit back and just do our best to do whatever we can by ourselves, for ourselves, individually. But wait a minute. I think at some point, God made me remember and put it in my mind through His scriptures that it's not about just me. I'm not supposed to be just minding my own business and just going about my own life and just making sure that I'm okay. No, we're supposed to be making sure that our neighbors are okay. I'm supposed to make sure that every black person is okay. And I'm supposed to be making sure that every white person that I can touch is okay, that I can reach out to is okay. That's what we're supposed to be doing. When you feel your calling, you got to do it. And so here I am now. This is what we are all supposed to be doing. And so, yes, I have conviction to do this now, and people who know me closely know that I've done it on a lower level, more quiet level, but I've done it all along. I've always mentioned these things to people, but again, lots of denial. Well, now we got this wonderful Facebook thing, and it's great, and now I'm here with you. Those of you, thank you, I love you too, Amanda. Those of you who are joining in and taking part in this, I appreciate you so much. Those of you who are passing this word on to other people or in your own interpretation of it, as long as it's positive, as long as it gets through to the people you're talking to, thank you, thank you, thank you. those of you who have jumped on Instagram, or I put these things on YouTube as well. There's a page, OBIE underscore SBTSBC, which is the page linked to my Facebook, and then that's the same um, address for Instagram, and the same address for YouTube. So you can find it, or you can just look up my name, OBIE MORANT, and they all pop up. It's pretty neat. But there's no excuse for us to not have this conversation. If you clicked on, then the conversation should be being had with somebody, and not just in the streams here, not just in these things. I always forget the name, but not just here, and not just with me, and not just with the people that are taking part in um, this particular forum right now. But when you get off of here, you should be talking to your friends and your family, your white friends and your white family, and helping them to understand what's happening here. People are crying for help. People are crying for equality. People are crying for to have a seat at the table, and we're working for it. We're doing the work. It hasn't been accessible. You can't just allow one or two people in and then think that it's all supposed to be hunky dory. I don't know where I learned that word, hunky dory, but people have done that for years. I've done it. We black people are guilty in a lot of ways of doing that. We just said, okay, well, we got one in, okay, we got another in, all right, we're good. No, we can't stop fighting until the table is set for all of us. Not just some of us, all of us. And you, my white family, my white peeps, my white friends, and my friends, and wherever. Look, you gotta get a grip. You gotta get a grip. You gotta have a come to Jesus moment with each other, my white friends, my white family, my white Facebook people. You have to. You have to come to a grip and have a come to Jesus moment and say, are these things real? Do your own research. Look, you don't have to believe anything I'm saying. Just when we're done here, do your research. Look up some of the things that I told you. Go back to some of the other videos. Look up some of the things that some of the guests have told you. Look up some of the things about C.T. Vivian, like I told you a moment ago. Look up these things. These things are real. Like, literally, this is real life. It's not hard to see. It's almost like people have blinders on that makes and it makes them not be able to see these things that are happening, but they're right in front of your eyes. Like, this stuff happens every single day. Go into a store, maybe go into an expensive store and watch, maybe a black or brown person go in, and maybe they don't have on the coolest looking clothes right now, and watch how they're perceived when they walk in. I mean, little things like that. Look, it's no longer acceptable. It's no longer acceptable to not be an anti-racist, anti-racist. It's no longer acceptable. You have to either be fighting against it, or you're with it. You might as well be. There's no middle of the road anymore. Listen, I love you guys. I want to thank you all for stopping by. As you can hear, my voice is about to do funny things, and it's almost time for me to take some medicine so that legs are going crazy. But thank you again for hanging in there, stopping by. Please be in touch. You can contact me. My phone number's on Facebook. You can text. You can message me privately, PM, whatever it's called. You can send me a shout on Instagram. Please like my Instagram page too, if you don't mind. It's just kind of a cool thing, I guess. Nice thing to do. But please, guys, get the message, man. Racism is real. We need to tackle it. We need to get to know it. We need to get to know each other. We need to have conversations so that we can all grow and get this thing taken care of, man. Nip it in the bud. It may not happen during our lifetimes all the way, but we can at least start this thing rolling. I love you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you Saturday at 7 p.m. Same black time, same black channel.